Hello, and welcome to the AI Engineering Podcast, your guide to the fast moving world of building scalable and maintainable AI systems. Unlock the full potential of your AI workloads with a seamless and composable data infrastructure. Bruin is an open source framework that streamlines integration from the command line, allowing you to focus on what matters most, building intelligent systems. Write Python code for your business logic and let Bruin handle the heavy lifting of data movement, lineage tracking, data quality monitoring, and governance enforcement. With native support for ML and AI workloads, Bruin empowers data teams to deliver faster, more reliable, and scalable AI solutions. Harness Bruin's connectors for hundreds of platforms, including popular machine learning frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. Build end-to-end AI workflows that integrate seamlessly with your existing tech stack. Join the ranks of forward-thinking organizations that are revolutionizing their data engineering with Bruin. Get started today at aiengineeringpodcast.com/Bruin, and for dbt Cloud customers, enjoy a $1,000 credit to migrate to Bruin Cloud. Your host is Tobias Macy, and today I'm interviewing Aman Agarwal about the operational investments that are necessary to ensure you get the most out of your AI models. So, Aman, can you start by introducing yourself?
First of all, thanks for having me here. I'm Aman Agarwal and I'm currently building OpenLit, which is an AI engineering tool built on OpenTelemetry native platform. And it's used to kind of manage your AI development workflows. I have around 10 plus years of experience working in different platforms, open source platforms, dev tools, and all.
And do you remember how you first got started working in this space of AI and data?
Yeah, funny story. So I was like the AI was starting up, and I was currently very well involved with front end development. And then I suddenly saw one post about this AI. And 2.5 years back, I started working on a music recommendation app built on Spotify APIs and all. Then I was running into a lot of problems like debugging and all. The cost reaching the token usage got huge and all. Then I realized that that is not the way to go forward with the AI development. So I just got an idea about let me figure out how this AI development workflow can be like made easy for developers. And then it started with OpenLit. And this music recommendation app just got on the back end, and then it started with it.
Before we get too much into OpenLit and some of the overall aspects of operationalizing these LLM systems and services, I'm wondering if you can just talk to what you see as some of the major blind spots that teams are dealing with when they're trying to build these AI powered either chatbots or agentic use cases or various different components that rely on LLMs in various forms.
If we talk about the blind spots, there are couple of blind spots. First of all, I would say the first and foremost blind spot is how the AI is giving responses, like what it's intercepting with the prompts, what it's like taking the context, how is it modifying it, and then working towards the response. So that area is still black hole, and we cannot like totally understand and totally pen down thoughts about how the AI is working. So we need to be very keen on like logging traces, logging most of the information that it can help us debug the AI usage. So that's one thing. The other thing is like cost and token usage. Like people are still like keep on using like AI tools, AI providers into their app, but they are still very much like blind about how the token usage goes abruptly high, how my cost is coming like out to be like more than my revenue. So that kind of thing is really important for us to like figure out. Then there is third thing is prompts. Like people are hard coding prompts into their apps, which is like difficult to manage. You can have like hundreds of different prompts which can perform like thousands of use cases, but to manage that, it's really difficult. You need to like push in your code to the production and then update the prompts, but that is what is like the main area to be tackled.
In particular, I think that a lot of these blind spots that you identified and challenges that come along with it are something that teams encounter fairly early in the adoption journey of starting to work with AI, particularly in a production use case, even whether that's for internal tools only. And as teams build up their overall sophistication and the ability to work at a higher level with these LLMs, they start to adopt these various agentic patterns. And I'm wondering if you see teams who are at that level of the adoption curve falling prey to these same challenges, or some of the ways that the kind of maturity curve changes the stumbling blocks that they run into.
Yeah, I think people are just wanting to create some AI apps these days. Just the boom is there. People just want to like create a lot of things using AI apps, and most of the things are like meaningless. And most of the things people are developing just to like create a competition around that same area. But to create an AI app, we need to understand the AI first. Nobody is there who can understand the AI until unless you have proper monitoring, proper observability, and those kind of things to identify the areas how we need to take help from the AI to generate a response to create some app. That's the main major area that we need to focus on.
To the point of things like prompt management, the observability aspects, cost tracking. There are numerous tools that have been developed to address some or all of those capabilities. Some of them are point solutions, some of them are full suites of capability, similar to what you've built with OpenLit. And oftentimes, in order to be able to address the entire set of needs for running one of these generative models in a production context, you're going to need a superset of many of those tools, and some of them might have overlap. And so then you're running into the trouble of, okay, well, how do I figure out which part of which tool to use for this part of the problem? And I guess, given that, what are some of the major components that you see as table stakes for being able to put these models into production?
I think you have like described it well. Like there are too many tools out there which help us take the AI apps from development to production. But the thing is, like when we started 2 years back creating this product, there were a lot of tools in the market, but the tools were not fully open source. Then there was people were not following OTL format. So OTL format is the generic convention that people follow these days for observability. If you have that, it's a no vendor lock-in support. Basically any tool would be able to read that, process that, and give you output to that. So in this field of AI, like it becomes difficult for anyone to have like a vendor lock-in thing, because people are like these days trying out different things like just before launching it to production. Let's say if I am like vibe coding, I'll try out different tools of vibe coding until unless I just like get at that aha moment, and then I just like stick to one vibe coding tool. Similar is with the other tools, there is one tool which is they have this observability problem which is sticking to their own format, which becomes difficult because if people are like I want to migrate this to another platform, they won't be able to do it. So those kind of things that people need to like keep in mind before like opting for the products for this area, which helps them like take their apps to the further level, as well as maintainability is very important. If there is no maintainability, you won't be able to like reach to that level where you would be like, now my product is like production level and market reaches market fit. So those are the things that people need to care about before opting for a product like this.
To enumerate some of the competing tools that I'm aware of, I'm thinking about things like Langsmith from the LangChain folks. There's Langfuse that was recently acquired by ClickHouse. Another one that I think is interesting is Tensor Zero, which is a gateway focused product that has some of these observability and prompt management capability. Well, prompt tuning more than prompt management, and I'm just wondering if you can talk to some of the ways that you think about the overall landscape and the place that you're carving out with the work that you're doing on OpenLit, and sort of the comparison between what you've been focusing on and some of these other tool chains.
If I talk about LangChain, the Langfuse that got acquired by ClickHouse, they were kind of like the thing I talked about was vendor lock-in. So they have a format that they were like building in, and it becomes difficult for a person to switch from a platform which is vendor lock-in because they are tightly coupled with it. If they are like using their environment, then they have to stick to it because they cannot move out of it. Then there is another one called Trace Loop, which is a very good platform as well. They are not totally open source. Their product is totally not open source. Then there is Helicone, which is open source, but they have a limitation to it with the enterprise edition. And what I wanted to build in was like to help the developers get to a particular place where they are ready to ship their apps to a production level. It's just that there are minute things that needs to be addressed, like prompt management, and then there is secret management. For different environments you need to have like different API keys for different LLM providers. Then there is evaluations thing. Then there is open ground, which is like comparing two different LLM providers with the same prompt. Those kind of things, if we are not allowing the users to have those things open source or free to use, they won't be able to like make their app to production ready. What's they'll just be left behind. So that was my like a notion behind building this OpenLit. So we need to have such open source product which is like free to use for at least the minimum viable things, so that anybody can create MVP out of it. So that was my thought.
And given the overall feature set of OpenLit, what are some of the other components or capabilities that you imagine a team needing to be able to have a full end-to-end LLM ops suite beyond just the hosting of the model or the API endpoint for the model?
Since we were like open telemetry native, so there was this thing which was launched by OTel community, which was OPAM server, like protocol management for this OTel collectors and all. So when you are running your app on different environments, on different machines, with different OTel collectors, then what happens is it becomes difficult for you to manage those OTel collector settings, configurations to kind of filter out the traces or capture all the traces kind of thing. So we recently launched Fleet Hub, which is a feature where you can manage your multiple OTel collector configurations at one place. So you don't need to go into the different machine and then log in into that machine and then change the configuration, restart the server. Nothing like that. You just like log into OpenLit, you go and have your OTel collectors listed over there, and you can just update the OTel settings and you are done with it. When you want to like, let's say I have a development app running, and then what I want to do is like start sending those traces to a different platform. Now you don't have to like go and update your app with different configuration settings and all. You just go to the hotel collector, you add your exporter to it, and it's just like in one go it starts sending it the traces to different platform. This is one. Then there is zero code observability. We launched Kubernetes operator that is helping people to kind of, without changing their app code, you'll be able to instrument your AI app with OpenLit Kubernetes operator. You don't need to like update your code, add anything to it. No need. You just go download the Kubernetes operator through Helm, and then you can just run that Kubernetes operator. You can update your configurations, like which traces to filter out, which applications to trace, and keep the data. You're done. So these were the features that we recently worked on. We kind of had the notion about very low user memory. Like if you run a OpenLit image, you just have two components. One is ClickHouse, then the other one is like OpenLit whole client app and hotel collector and everything running. So we wanted to keep it so simple that user do not like get afraid and to add those things into their application code, and they were like, I need to add a lot of things. No, just add one line of code, it's done. So that's.
One of the other aspects of building one of these LLM applications is the experimentation and evaluation. And those are phrases that have a lot of nuance and gradation in terms of how they're actually implemented. I know that in OpenLit, you have experimentation in the form of being able to load two different models with the same or different prompts and do a visual comparison of them, versus experimentation in terms of the A/B testing style approach, where you might want to route a certain percentage of traffic to one prompt or one model versus the other, and then be able to track those over time. And I'm just wondering how you're thinking about the current state of OpenLit and just some of the ways that that manual point in time experimentation factors into some of the more longitudinal experimentation that other tool chains enable.
So, like for the experimentation thing, we have two features right now, which is one is open ground, where you can compare your LLMs with a single prompt, multiple LLM configurations. With single prompt, you can just check what was the prompt responses from each, what is the cost that every other provider took, what was the fastest provider that was there for a particular prompt. Then there is evaluations. We have the evaluations right now, but the context is missing from the OpenLit platform, which we are like still figuring out how to develop, because context is a very critical problem to solve. You cannot just provide and dump all the context to the application. It has to be like specific to the app. So we are just like working around trying to understand how we can do it. But the evaluations are there. Right now we have LLM as a judge. We provide we give it to prompt, and then we give response, and then understand, ask LLM to kind of give us the score of hallucination, bias, and toxicity. But we'll just figure out and like enhance it. We have a future plan of like closing the loop. We have experimentation, then we have evaluation, and then we want to suggest what you can improve in your prompt or what you can improve in your data set to kind of close the loop to make your AI app work better with performance, with cost, and with responses.
And for teams who are using something like a Tensor Zero, where they're very focused on acting as the gateway for being able to manage routing to those different models, as well as having their own observability for purposes of prompt optimization, how do you see OpenLit factoring into a deployment that would be using both of those technologies, particularly for the areas of overlap around things like observability and sort of cost tracking, things like that?
So I would say like we don't want any user to kind of restrict themselves into just using OpenLit. We don't want them to kind of act like, if I have used OpenLit, now I cannot I want some more features and I cannot like just switch to another platform. That's not it. That's not what we thought. while building it. So we just give the SDK if you want to integrate into your existing platforms, there is Grafana, Prometheus, Dash0. You are very well easy going. You can just integrate the SDK, you just send the traces to the exporters, and you are done. It's not like we want you to just come to our platform, use it, and then just stick to it. Sticking is one thing. We want definitely want it, but it's not like we want the users to kind of feel disheartened using OpenLit. So we give out of the box features like prompt management, secret management, evaluations, custom dashboards. So those are the features that we want users to use and get attracted to. But it's not like if they have Grafana as an observability platform running into their environment, and we don't want it to add in more variables to their environment. You just start sending traces to Grafana. You have the that observability platform. You just use our like a gateway thing, just transfer it to it.
And beyond just the model calls themselves, I know that you're focused on adding trace information to things such as the various vector and content stores that you're going to be interacting with. And I'm wondering, as you see teams adopting OpenLit, how that changes their overall design and development workflow as they get their initial prototypes up and running and then gain insights into how it actually behaves. How does that change the way that they think about the overall system design and the way that they structure their development versus teams who are just coming at it completely blind?
Like earlier, what used to happen is like people used to get the traces a single input and output thing. Like you gave the prompt, you got the response, and everything else was a black box. Now, there are various methods you can just get the data from. In OpenLit we have implemented SDK in such a way that we try to give all the stepwise traces. So if your tool is getting called, we name the tool. We define what input was given to that tool, and then what was the output to that tool, what response time it took, what tokens it took, all the information in a detailed format. If anybody wants to debug a particular workflow, AI workflow that is being doing, they don't need to get stuck at a place where they don't know what tool was used. At least they should be aware what tool was used. Then they can just debug that tool. If they don't like the response, they can just go ahead and update that tool. At least that kind of detailed information they should be aware of before jumping on to creating an AI app that can be deployed to production. Because unless and until they are aware about their own product, they cannot provide services to other people.
And then another aspect of getting this visibility and having this confidence building machinery to be able to understand how the system is actually behaving as you go through change management of modifying the prompt, modifying the model, modifying the context it's retrieving. One of the default approaches that I tend to see with teams who are building with these AI systems is they'll automatically go to whatever is the biggest and best frontier model, start building with that, get some early successes and say, okay, great, this is what I'm going to use. And then they start to realize over time, oh, this is actually getting incredibly expensive. It would be great if I could use the cheaper model. But they're prevented from being able to do that because they don't have that confidence building machinery to be able to understand how the overall system is going to change when you go to that different model or try to optimize the prompt, especially when you're in more of an agentic workflow where you have some indeterminate number of calls that are going to have various compounding error rates depending on the different model capabilities, etc.
Every model that is been designed by different providers tackles different use cases. If you ask a particular model to generate a sequence of numbers, then the other model might not be able to help you with that. That might cause huge performance issues with the app. So that is why observability is really very important before even like going to MVP phase, because unless until you are aware about what model to use for a particular use case, you won't be able to develop a particular solution. You will just be like playing around with your money and time.
And digging now more into OpenLit, you've mentioned that it's built on OpenTelemetry as that core data collection layer. I'm wondering if you can just talk to the overall design and architecture of the framework and some of the different component models that you're building on top of to make it extensible.
We try to stick to what OpenTelemetry format is. We don't want to add custom layers to it because OpenTelemetry has a very huge community and people are adopting it like really crazy. If we stick to that plan of providing users the same OpenTelemetry format, then people would be have some kind of confidence into the platform because everybody is using it. If we come up with something new, then people would be like, this is new, this is unknown to me, how do I understand this, how do I do this, and the product will just like collapse. So that is why we built around open telemetry. So there are community members. If they decide what should be changed, what keys should be changed, what format should be changed, it's like common to all, and it takes whole lot of community to kind of decide what major changes to be done. Like recently I remember like there were some kind of discussion about having some response and prompt in the event span or events, that kind of thing, and people were like dicey about what keys to support, and we were like hanging around. We shipped with different key and then it turned out that we want to revert it, and then all those things happened. So at least the community was like confident enough to come over here, that at least it is following open telemetry standard. Then there is like configuration thing. You can definitely add your custom configurations, you can add your custom data to it. It's not a like a restriction over there. We will show it, we will display it on the dashboard and everything, your custom information, but it's not like limiting to just the hotel format keys. You can definitely add it. Then there is another thing which I talked about earlier, like about the OPAMP management, like fleet management, managing your hotel collectors. Because right now the observability is a very huge area. People are not just like sending traces to a particular server and then just dumping it into the database. That's not what is happening right now. People are having a different layer of collecting those traces, which is eventually dumping those data into the database, like in a batch format or in a like a single go format. Those configurations needs to be addressed. If we are unaware about those configurations, we would just be left behind with these hotel traces in the database without filtering. And once we like encounter that the filtering is not there, we would be left behind with tons of data, and it would be difficult for us to like filter out then. So beforehand, if it's like easily filterable, we should do it. That's what we have in our mind, and that's what we like built for in the openlet.
Digging into the prompt management aspect, that's one of those things that needs to be reliable, because if you launch a new instance of the application, or maybe you have auto scaling and a new pod launches with a copy of the code, it needs to be able to access whatever the current prompt is. And if it errors and maybe falls back to a default prompt, then you're going to have a high degree of variability in terms of the end user experience, because you have different endpoints using different prompts to call the API with. And I'm wondering how you've thought through some of those reliability aspects and some of the safe default behaviors around how the framework should manage the prompt, particularly in the event that whatever endpoint is serving the latest version has, high load or high latency or goes down for any reason.
We had let's say we are building a Node.js application. We have a package and we add a new package and with a particular version. Now, what happens is if we want to update that version on the production mode, then we need to update that. It's like auto updatable, and then it deploys the app, and then on the production, when the app gets deployed, it just breaks. That's not what should happen. So that is what kind of we had in our mind to support both ways. If you have not mentioned any version and you just want to update your prompt to the latest, you would be able to do it. Like, you just don't mention the version and then you just get the latest prompt, and every time you publish a new version of the prompt, it just picks up that latest prompt. But similar to the Node.js application, if you have mentioned a particular version, then unless and until you update your app with a new version, you won't be able to access that prompt. So that kind of reliability is very important when you are developing an AI application. If you just update a little bit of context into the prompt, the whole meaning of how the LLM would understand it, it'll change. Because LLM, it's not like you would be able to guess what LLM actually refer to a context. If you have 1,000 lines of code, you provide a LLM 1,000 lines of code and you ask a particular thing, you don't know how that LLM gave the answer, whether or not it referred all the points mentioning that particular question, or it just picked up one line and then gave you the answer. You are not sure about it, how the LLM would work. So it's very important to frame your prompts in such a manner that it doesn't lose your context and it's reliable when any update happens. So that's what the prompt management is all about.
And as you have gone from your initial versions of this project to where you are now, and as you look forward to future development, how have the overall scope and goals changed?
So earlier we started with just adding telemetry to AI apps. We kept on increasing the integrations. Then we realized that we need to have a particular dashboard to be able to display all those information. And then the journey began with the OpenLit as a whole new product, an AI engineering tool, rather than being just an observability layer. So the scoping kept on changing. Earlier, we didn't support OTL format. Like 2 years back, maybe when OTL launched, we just were one of the first ones to support the OTL format. We are totally open source right now. We don't have any enterprise version, any hidden cost, anything like the other players in the market. Then there is like lot 50 plus of integrations that has happened, and it'll kept keep on increasing. Then there is like the open ground. If you look the previous version of the open ground, that was very crude. We just wanted to have that feature. We built it and we launched it. Now if you see open ground, it has a lot of integrations between the LLM providers. Then there is this fleet management that came up. So we have a couple of things on our mind, which is like having data sets, having the whole new evaluation life cycle of understanding, adding context to it, all those things. And then there is a couple of other things. Right now we are totally focused on pushing it to open source. We are not we will keep this as an enterprise thing, because once your product is there to hit the market, what I feel is if you're happy with your product, it's okay to give it free. Eventually you'll get to a point where you can earn out of it, you can monetize it. There is no line where it's like now you cannot monetize it. Anytime that would come, that place would come where you are not now this is the feature that I want to charge user for, but that's okay. If I charge less, that's okay. So that's the thought process over here.
with the platform approach that you're taking of having the instrumentation, the prompt management, evaluation, and experimentation, those are some of the core requirements around being able to confidently build and deploy these LLM powered applications. And with that foundation, I'm wondering what you see as some of the adjacent capabilities that you're likely to expand into as you continue developing and iterating on this project.
We are trying to add integrations for different platforms like Grafana. There is Dash0. Dash0 recently launched some AI integrations, and OpenLit is one of them. And then there is Grafana. Grafana also has AI integration with OpenLit. We want to place OpenLit in such a manner that people are not afraid of OpenLit as an observability platform, because it is not a competitor with other observability products. It's an overall tool which helps you build AI apps faster and more reliable. And the other aspect which we are thinking of is, which every other company is like thinking of, which is data security. We don't want to use users data, so that is why we don't have like exact numbers, how many people are using it and how what is the exact count of events. We just have a rough estimation. We just mention it on the docs page that we track some data but not the user data. We don't even track user email, through which we can just like understand like what the user, which company the user is working on. But we want to stick to data security as a huge aspect, which is a trust building factor for us.
And once a team has been running OpenLit and has accrued a certain corpus of insights and information about the capabilities and performance and usage of their application, what are some of the ways that either you can do out of the box or ways that you envision teams being able to use that as a means of starting a flywheel of self improvement, particularly for agentic use cases, being able to introspect their behavior and optimize based on that feedback?
We have a support of multiple database configuration. So for one app, let's say you have different environments and you use different databases, so you can visualize that on the same dashboard, adding different database configurations. It won't be suppose you want to send your development data to a different ClickHouse DB, and then you want to send your actual production data into a different ClickHouse DB. You shouldn't be afraid of like just tangling all these traces data into each other. It will be separate. It will send separate data, and you'll be able to visualize it properly. You'll be able to evaluate each individual traces, so that it's easier for you to understand what way my product is going towards, which I can improve on. If my product is deviating from the path it should have, then I can just modify a couple of things using OpenLit telemetry data, those toxicity evaluations, bias evaluations, and then there is analyzing all the individual traces of each step for a particular LLM call. Those kind of detailed information would actually help the users to kind of polish their AI apps.
As you have been building OpenLit and working with the community around it to understand how to improve the operability of these LLM applications, what are some of the sharp edges and blind spots that you still see people running up against, even with the observability information that they have available from OpenLit?
I think there are two major things. One is the memory, where people are just playing around with different products as well. There are a lot of products out there in the market, which is like handling these memory issues. Then there is another one, which is the huge context thing. What people do is like just add a lot of context to a particular product and it just fails, and they are able to they are not able to understand why is it failing. I provided it all the information, but it's failing. How and what to tackle? Those are the kind of blind spots that we think that it needs to be addressed soon, because until unless you tackle the context issues, you won't be able to get a meaningful response out of it. You will just be fighting over the different same prompt, different responses, and you'll just be like wondering on the top of the mountain that should I jump or not? So that kind of thing.
As you have been working on this project and seeing how people are adopting it, what are some of the most interesting or innovative or unexpected ways that you're seeing it applied?
We launched with multiple database configurations, and we were dicey about it. Like, we were like, why would people create multiple database configurations? It'll just be a single component and all. If they want, they can deploy another layer of OpenLit into their system and all. But it was like very surprising to see there was one single user or multiple user but single instance kind of thing, which had like around 4 to 5 database configurations into their own platform. They added that database configuration into it because we have a db change and db added event kind of thing. So we knew like a lot of db configurations getting added. It was surprising to see that it grew. Like, people have been like pushing in database configurations like in a huge number. So that was the surprising edge for me. Then there was like how people are like using OpenLit. They were trying to send data to different platforms via OpenLit, and they were trying to like send it to different exporters, and people have been like doing it for lot of other platforms. That gave us an idea about to go forward with the company, and then just reach out to the different companies and ask them about the integration thing. Recently, Dash Zero also added OpenLit integrations. Last year, I remember like I had a conversation with one of the Elastic guy, and we like wrote a blog about how we can like observe AI apps using Elastic and then OpenLit, that kind of thing. And it was a good response from users reading out that blog. So it's very like surprising to see people have been mentioning OpenLit as a like a requirement for their jobs. That was like a very good moment for me, like because this thing OpenLit has now become a like a requirement for a AI developer kind of thing. So that's that.
And in your experience of building this project and helping your end users understand how best to apply it, what are some of the most interesting or unexpected or challenging lessons that you learned personally?
I think first of all, I need to like addressing like people community like very frequently is a huge task. So that's the thing. Like, I have learned it very hard. It was hard for me to understand like how frequent I had to like address people. Then there was like addressing though their like feature request. People flooded with feature request like, I want this provider, I want that provider. I was like, how do I like support all these information to it? So that was difficult for me, which helped me understand that catering all the requirements, all the features at once is not the part of the plan. You need to focus on the experience first before like addressing those feature requests. We shipped open ground very crude, and it wasn't attached to the other components in the dashboard, which actually we were trying to address that very frequently, but we couldn't. And then we tried modifying it, but that had the less priority. So it took me around an year to address that and then come up with version 2 of open graph, which was very disheartening because people might not be using it. So why ship what has a very good experience, developer experience? Otherwise people would just be coming and going. So that is a best learning I could get, one of the best learning that I could get from it.
And for people who are building these LLM powered systems and services, what are the cases where OpenLit is the wrong choice?
That's a very good question. I don't think OpenLit is a wrong choice though. But jokes apart, I think if you are sticking to having a close net with different platforms, like if you're using LangChain and all, so they have their own format, which actually helps the other user. If a particular person is using LangChain and they want to visualize it using their components, so it would be better to like use their platform and not OpenLit, because OpenLit supports the generic use cases, OpenTelemetry format, which is like getting adopted by every other person, but your app might not be able to fit in with those requirements. So first of all that, and then there is like if you want cloud support, we don't have cloud support right now. Eventually we would, but right now it's not there. Then there is a couple of things like gateways. We don't have gateways. If you want gateways like API gateway kind of thing, you go forward with other platforms. But all in all, what we have is like worth trying for. You can try, you can decide. People can just tag me with what are the feature requests, and I'll think about it.
As you continue to build and iterate on the OpenLit platform, what are some of the key features that you're focused on, or any particular projects or problem areas you're excited to explore?
I think one of that is context management, which is like adding context on the basis of different parameters, like a rule engine thing, where like if a particular app is there, it should have a context predefined, and the user might be able to get it like a version prompt something, and the evaluation is also based on that context. So it just gives you a overall picture about how the app is getting used with different prompts but the same context. So that is the very keen like area that I am currently focusing on, how to like tackle that.
Are there any other aspects of the work that you're doing on OpenLit or just the overall space of LLM operations that we didn't discuss yet that you'd like to cover before we close out the show?
I think there was one aspect that we were thinking of, but we kind of like drop off for the moment, which was like having a like a hub or something in the OpenLit, which was like if you generated an image, you have that image onto the OpenLit server or something, which you would be able to like get back later, because earlier what used to happen is any LLM generated image would expire after some time. So that is what we were thinking of, but now that's not the case. The resource probably like remains for a lifetime. So that was the use case that we were trying for. But other than that, I think I mostly covered what I really felt.
All right. Well, for anybody who wants to get in touch with you and follow along with the work that you're doing, I'll have you add your preferred contact information to the show notes. And as the final question, I'd like to get your perspective on what you see as being the biggest gap in the tooling, technology, or human training that's available for data and or AI today.
I think the biggest gap would be the intelligence. Like we are still thinking that AI could do everything, but there is still a gap of understanding and having an emotional connection, because sometimes what you say it is not what you mean. So that kind of scenario is still missing over there, which is a huge gap until the AI just rules the world. So we need to be more emotional, and we need to increase more emotional connection with the human, rather than just trusting AI for like giving us the response. And the other thing is like the memory. We need to provide some memory to the AI to be able to like get things from the past. But we as a human, we have that memory inbuilt in our system, which is like different type of memories, short lived, long lived, and all those things. And that we need to like respect before like pushing all those things to the AI, because like AI could like ruin what we like enjoyed in the previous life. So that's that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today to join me and share the work that you're doing on OpenLit and your thoughts on the operational characteristics of these AI systems. I definitely appreciate all of the work that you're putting into this project and making it available to everyone. I definitely plan on experimenting with it for my own uses. So thank you for all of that. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. It was great talking to you, and this gave me an insight about how my thoughts are, and how do I like present those thoughts to other people. So thanks for the opportunity. It was nice
Absolutely.
having.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out our other shows. The Data Engineering Podcast covers the latest on modern data management, and Podcast.init covers the Python language, its community, and the innovative ways it is being used. Visit the site to subscribe to the show, sign up for the mailing list, and read the show notes. And if you've learned something or tried out a project from the show, then tell us about it. Email hosts at aiengineeringpodcast.com with your story.